Ahoy, me hearties! Come on in aboard the biggest and deadliest ship in the 7 seas. Put on your best pirate shanty pants, for we are about to begin another 3 months of pirate conquest farming, you scurvy pirates. So anyways, coming in, we have a lot to talk about today for the Maz Kanata Conquest event. Don't you worry, we got graphics, we got the maps where it shows X marks the spot. And I gotta say, you might not want to hear it, but maybe you do. This looks pretty red crateable for I think a lot of people out there. So if you're ready to go dig up some treasure, hey, yar, smash that like button. Late night video. Whew. Let's just get to work, all right, people? My brain cells are at a very low point right now, and I'm already running pretty low on brain cells to begin with, so that says a lot. Anyways, let's get down to work for Maz Kanata. Overall, we did her kit reveal a while ago. She seems to be a fun character, assuming you got the newer pirates, but now they're making characters more relic accessible at low star, so this might be become a little bit more enticing. Red crate viable for a lot of people, low star viability for pirates. Interesting stuff we got cooking here. So as always, there will be links down below to the Ultimate Galaxy spreadsheet that I have, where you'll find all these global feats as well as sector feats suggestions. But before we get to that, it's always important to know, if you are someone that's pushing for conquest, what are the goals, me hearties? Well, if you're going to be going for red crate, we're going to go over all the feats here. You can skip a total of 34 key cards. And I went through my free-to-play account. This looks pretty manageable, assuming you can do some of the more annoying feats. And if you don't want to stress out for the red crate, because it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and you might not care too much about pirates, it might not fit your roster too well, I'd still recommend going for gold crate at the very minimum. Get yourself a lot of the shards for Maz Kanata, as well as maybe shards for the previous pirate, SM33, and a bunch of other goodies on top of that. You got 134 key cards. You can skip out on for gold. And you know, a pirate loves gold booty, let me tell ya. And before we do all that feat shenanigans, when it's gonna come down to your data disk, you always don't know what the official data disk selection is gonna be until it actually starts up, but keep your eyes out for the usual. Things like, more recently, Weak Spot have been really great. Also, things like ability blocks, things like thermal detonators, caustic emissions, those things turn out to be fairly darn good. But you know what? A pirate always has an eye keen to the horizon, willing to adapt to the times for what may come their way. And if you don't get good data disks, well, that sucks.
You serious?
All right, enough fooling around, my friends. Let's go now talk about the global feats and get ourselves on our journey here. So when it comes to the global feats, here's what we got. Defeat 250 enemies on the Golden Challenge path. Win 20 battles with at least 3 Darkside clone troopers in your squad. Win 20 battles with a full squad of Jedi Vanguard units. Win 20 battles with Omega Fugitive. Surviving. Then you're going to do attempt to inflict action down 100 times. And then you got to use a battle with the deploying cooling systems. And then you got to do 200 times gaining advantage. And then you got to use booming voice 60 times. And with that in mind, my friends, here is my suggestions here. Now, Golden Challenge Path, 250 kills or 250 battles, easy peasy lemon squeeze. Let's talk about the more pertinent things. Darkside clones, as we all know, incredibly important to the pirate motto. So of course there's gonna be Darkside clones out there. We're gonna show a variety of different Darkside clones things, but what's important is that you don't need to win with the Darkside clones. So I'm not saying go out there, max out your Darkside clones. You don't. For a lot of the stuff out there, you can just pick 3 Darkside clones at gear 1, throw in like Sith Eternal, Wat Tambor, do a mission, you know, where the treasure node is. Our treasure, we like treasure, don't we? When you're farming data disks. So that's a good thing. You don't need to worry about the Darkside clones actually surviving. And if you do have good Darkside clones, we're gonna kind of show different varieties throughout all the different sectors. Jedi Vanguard, you got a couple ways to cut it, whether it's a new Jedi Master Windu team, but I think for a lot of people, you're probably gonna have things like Caloran Beck, Shakti, Qui-Gon, Barriss, Ayla Secura up and running in your roster. And of course, as we go through some of the sectors, I'll show more specific things to max out feats. Omega, you're gonna need to win 20 battles with Omega Fugitive in your squad. Let me double check that verbiage real quick here. It's 20 battles with Omega. She needs to survive. I have to fix this graphic. She does need to survive, unfortunately. So you cannot do things like the Dark Side Clone Trooper cheese. Well, you need to have her survive. So make sure if you are bringing her in, make sure there's tanks covering her, make sure she's not dying, especially if you're rocking a low gear Omega. If you have a good Omega with the new Bad Batch, you don't got to worry too much about that. Now, accuracy down. There are a few good ways of handling accuracy down, such as the Padawan, Obi-Wan, Omicron, of course, things like Scout Trooper, Cad Bane, Dr. Aphra, and then things like Eighth Brother. We're going to show again as we go through the sectors. What are the suggestions I would have as you tackle the actual sector feats out there? And advantage. Now, of course, if you wanted to make this nice and simple, first order, you could just spam an advantage and probably be done in a couple of battles. However, as we go through the sectors, you probably want to work on other sector feats and try to sprinkle in an advantage in there. So again, as we go through the sectors, we'll give kind of more detailed specifics on how to take out as many feats with one cannon. Harg! All right, now, it's time to get down to Sector 1 feats. Gary, let's show it to them. Sector 1 feats are going to be the following. Inflict doubt on enemies 60 times. Attempt to inflict stagger 60 times. Evade at least 100 attacks in battles you won. Win 10 battles with Depa Balaba. And then the mini boss. Win with Jedi Knight Cal Kestis surviving. Win with CX2 surviving. And then the big boss. Win with Batcher surviving. And win with only dark side characters. So here we go. Sector 1. A couple of challenging debuffs, doubts, not a lot of great ways of handling it. Your primary ways, I think, for most people are going to be like Dr. Aphra, which also, what do we say? She's got a little action down. So when she does her little finger guns, you're going to be able to get some action down, and her other ability has doubt on it. So probably a good 2-for-1 special there. And on top of that, Kira, Sana, not a lot of Dr. Aphra synergy, but they're scoundrels, right? You can try to spam even more stagger out there. So we're trying to compound as many feats into one. Moving on, though. Other prominent way of taking down the doubt. Listen, you don't doubt yourself if you're going to go for this red crate here. Darth Malgus is probably going to be the other one to handle business. And you have Basilisk Shan Fall, and she's got a lot of ways of getting things like stagger out there on top of that. So you got options on the table, mas senores. And if you happen to be rocking the new Jedi Master window, he's got a little bit of doubt cooking in his kit as well. And on top of that, Depa Balaba, you need her to survive for this sector feat. And there's going to be a lot of ways I want to kind of, the next few teams here, how to get a lot of evasions. Now, of course, you can do evasion up, you can do foresight, or just stroke of luck. The enemy team just completely misses. Keller and Beck on that basic when he goes, he throws a lot of foresight out for the team. So you got a lot of ways of doing Jedi Vanguard and also kind of dipping into some other stuff. So Jedi Master Windu, if you have them, probably one of the more efficient things to run in Sector 1. But there are other things to use if you don't have that, such as Darth Maul. Funny enough, Darth Maul, he's gonna work in a couple of these different sectors. He's got the evasion. He's got also advantage on his team, so contributing to that sector feat. And if you want to kind of bring as much together as possible, you can do Darth Maul with the evasion advantage. Sith Trooper's got advantage on him. Darth Malgus has the doubt. Basilisk Shan's got the stagger. And if you have a good Omega, maybe you could kind of throw her in there and keep the team alive. And if you have a good Omega, she can reduce cooldowns and maybe keep spamming advantage out, or keep spamming the stagger, or keep spamming the doubt out. So a lot of cool, funny, cheesy ways if you have the roster to afford it. And then also, if you're trying to really lean in and trying to get as much evasion as possible out there, Qui-Gon Jinn lead. You got the Zeta, you're going to get tons of foresight. Then Yoda's going to give more foresight. Keller and Beck, he's going to give more foresight. And then you have also Padawan Obi-Wan if you want to try maybe lean into some of the debuffs like the staggers and also the accuracy down. And then you got Depa Balaba for the survival. So again, a lot of ways to really try to get as much packed in there as possible. And of course, if you want to start working on your dark side clones, you'll have other sectors where it's going to be more important. But if you want to squeeze it in here, you got the Mara Jade when she does that AoE. She's got the staggers that she could throw out there. And then you have things like Oppo, CX2, and Disguised Clone Trooper. Probably going to be the ones that a lot of people will use for the 3 dark side clones. You can kind of squeeze them in there too. So again, a lot of ways to handle this. You don't really need any Galactic Legends to do this Conquest cycle. Of course, I'll show some Galactic Legends. I'm sure you guys can come up with some Galactic Legend ideas. But I just want to show you don't need Galactic Legends if you're going to be cruising along on this pirate ship here. And why don't we go cruising along now to sector number 2. Sector 2. Here's what we got. Win 10 battles with Omega, Fugitive, and Batcher surviving. Attempt to inflict daze 40 times. Win at least 20 battles without losing any units. Attempt to inflict buff immunity 40 times. And then the mini-boss. Win with Lord Vader and Scorch surviving. Win without using any Jedi, Sith, or Underline Force users in your squad. Win with the full squad of Empire units. Win with Jocasta Nu surviving. So, of course, there's going to be a few things that you're going to be gated out on if you don't have Jocasta Nu, Lord Vader, but still, even if you total up all these different legendaries that you might not have in Conquest units, Red Crate is still very manageable. Sector 2, not a lot of crazy stuff going on, maybe except things like throwing in a gas dash, Captain Rex B2. Is that enough Conquest feat cheesing for you? Well, anyways, obviously, very simple to get the win 20 battles without losing any units. Now it's just more, how can we condense as much as possible with the Fugitive and Batcher? And you already got to do Omega Fugitive for the global feat, right? Trying to get some days and buff immunity in here. Of course, you could just stick to an OG Bad Batch squad, or I should say Bad Batch V2 squad with Omega, Batcher. Throw in a little bit of Echoes when he does his fisting. You can try to get some days out there too. So that's gonna be a nice efficient run. If you have Lord Vader, this is a great opportunity to get the days, as well as your 3 dark side clones. And Piet's also got a days if you really want to kind of triple dip on a few of these things too. So another good opportunity if you want to go for that maximum cheese. That General Anakin Skywalker team could be a lot of fun. You know, you have 501st Rex of Gas, so you kind of activate Gas's 501st lead, so he will basically can't be defeated until Captain Rex is defeated. Then tons of days from Dash, from Captain Rex, and if you really want to stack on top of it, B2 Super Battle Droid is probably going to be your MVP for buff immunity. Now, of course, there's a lot of buff immunity characters out there like TIE Fighter Pop, blah, 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 blah. I'm just showing you fun ways of trying to get as much in as possible. That is the trick to Conquest, jamming in as much as possible without losing too many battles, right? And if you wanted to take the cheese to a whole other level, well then, especially if you're trying to keep Batcher and Omega alive, just again, mild suggestions. Wat Tambor, Jedi Master Luke, cheese as old as time. Put the tank tech on Jedi Master Luke. And if you want, I'm throwing suggestions in like Padawan Obi-Wan. He's got buff immunity on his Omicron, right? And then you have Batcher and Omega in there to try to keep him alive as long as possible. So again, a lot of funny options you can do with this here. I think these are some of the more efficient ways of tackling the situation. Sector 3, me hearties. Let's go. Sector 3. Attempt to inflict disarm 15 times. Win 10 battles with no tanks in your squad. Attempt to inflict blind 80 times. Defeat 35 enemies with Spectre units. Then the mini-boss is demanding that we win with only light side characters. Win with Balin's Skull in your squad. Defeat an enemy with Padawan Obi-Wan. And then win with the Sith Empire character in your squad. So again, nothing too crazy. We got some cheese that you may may enjoy on your journey to Maz Kanata. Of course, again, if you have the new Bad Batch squad, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I should even put this on there. It's pretty obvious. If you have the new Bad Batch team, they're useful for the past couple conquests now, yeah? Omega, she's got advantage on her special ability. Don't forget, and her special ability is going to be even helpful later on when you're under stealth to get advantage, all this other good stuff. So a great way to spam it out there. When it comes to disarm, I only could count so many fingers, but I think there's only like 3 or 4 ways of handling it. You have Chrysanthemum, you have CX2, Wrecker. I think that's like, maybe there's one more I'm forgetting, but those are basically the 3 main disarms that we have. So Wrecker and the Bad Batch crew gonna get the job done. Speaking of Chrysanthemum, the HUD Cartel lineup is going to be very important in this sector specifically because first off, Jabba, when he does the his basic ability when he's pointing fingers at everyone saying, pull my finger, he puts blind on them. Also, furthermore, Cad Bane here is going to help out for that global feat, getting accuracy down. I think that's my go-to way on my free-to-play account. Cad Bane is going to be gunslinging away, trying to get me accuracy down. Chrysanthemum's got this arm. A little unfortunate, he is a tank, and that's going to kind of screw you over on that tank feat. It is what it is, though. And then also, Skiff Guard Lando. I always recommend using Skiff Guard to call Cad Bane to assist. Gives you more assisting opportunities for Cad to get accuracy down. And Bausch Leia, because it's Bausch Leia. As you can see down the list more, if you want to get really cheesy at this, and you just want to like spam out as much blind as possible, because it's 80. It's gonna take a minute. Just bring in Wat Tambor, Herbert Yoda, and if you have Jabba, you put Jabba in there, and then just leave it. Literally put on auto basic. He'll spam tons of blind, and if you want, if he survives, you can do the insta kills in between. And if you do win with Jabba and you're not just farming for cheese, it counts as wins without having tanks in your squad. Go figure, right? So a couple ways of handling business with that. Other ways of taking on blind a CLS team, 3PO and Chewie. It's kind of the Old Testament when it comes to blind. That's going to be your best non-galactic legend way, I think, of handling it. And of course, if you have Lord Vader, you can try to do the no tank thing. Don't bring in Scourge. Bring in maybe Scout Trooper. It's got accuracy down on it, right? You got, and also disarm on CX2. So again, ways of kind of working with it. And of course, if you need some cheese, baby, take a look at the very bottom down yonder. Jedi Master Luke, Wat Tambor. You guys know how it goes, right? All right, put the taunt on Master Luke. You're bueno. Omega, she's just there, the vibe. And then you have things like Fulcrum Ahsoka. We didn't really talk much about Spectre teams because there's not really a lot of creative ways to go about the Spectre, right? You could do a full team of the Ahsoka Tano Galactic Legend. I don't know if you want to do that because then you technically, she counts as a tank and there's only 2 Spectre squads. You have General Syndulla lead or Ahsoka Tano lead, or if you want to do something like this, you put Fulcrum in here, then have Master Luke keep calling Fulcrum Ahsoka to assist, let her get the kills, and that's one way of going about it. So again, you got options on the table. If you don't have a full Spectre team, you don't need to worry about it. You just need one good Spectre that can get you some kills. Bada bing, bada boom. It's time to go to Sector 4 in the room. What are we doing? Oh yeah, Sector 4. Let's read, me hearties. Gain health steal up 60 times, attempt to inflict tenacity down 50 times, win 10 battles with Crosshair scarred surviving, inflict at least 300 damage over time effects on enemies with an ability. Hold on, we're going to have to talk about that here. Mini Boss says win with Temple Guard surviving, win without using any attacker units in your squad, and you got to win with SM33 surviving in the boss node, as well as win with the full squad of Galactic Republic surviving. So I want to quickly get to the damage over time thing. Now, some people might be like, oh, I'll just use my Tuskens and be done with it. I think this is worded differently compared to previous seasons of Conquest where you just had to get damage over time inflicted. They didn't say how. This says with an ability. And the Tusken, the damage over time is coming from the leader ability. So you're not like actively using it. Try it out. Maybe Tuskens still work, but the way I'm interpreting it, you actually have to press a button, whether basic or special, to get the damage over times to count towards us. Does that make sense? It better, because these are the options I think you're gonna have on the table here. You got a nice little Palpatine cheesy lineup here. Again, if you want to really push your luck, get a fish, maybe you got some great data disc. Check this out. You can do Palpatine, he's got health still up. Darth Vader, he's got lots of dots himself. Mara Jade's got tenacity down here. And then you have things like Darth Bane, if you got him. He's got health steal up, and then Crosshair. Well, he's Crosshair last I checked, so really efficient if you can try to bridge all those together, especially if you got good data disc. You can probably pull that off there. Of course, as well, you can go for a full Bad Batch team, and Omega is going to help you out with that. Yeah. Or if you have Lord Vader, this is going to be a great sector for Lord Vader. This is probably the sector, and Sector 5 is where I would recommend really start pushing for those dark side clones, because here you can do your Darth Vader, Lord Vader with the full team of dark side clones. You're gonna get those dots ramping up really darn quickly. And if you're worried about tenacity down, don't worry, you got a few people to help you out. Good old Commander Luke Skywalker. I swear Commander Luke Skywalker, again, feats come and go, things can change, but I feel like CLS is always a consistent team. They have a lot of debuffs, a lot of good stuff, like, you have the tenacity down on Chewie, which is important here, or you might need the, for example, crit chance up, crit damage up, accurate, evasion up, whatever it's called. Maybe you need blind, maybe you need evasion down. CLS teams come in handy, man, and specifically here, Old Man Rex, Chewie, they have tenacity down spam, if you want a fast way of handling business here. And look at that, Darth Maul. I told you he's gonna show his funny little face here again. Health steal up spam. This was kind of used during last season of Conquest, where you can just bring in Darth Maul, so he counts for the advantage, right? So that's gonna be good, right? And then you have things like Malik, he's got tenacity down as basic, and then you just spam the health steal up with Visas, Darth Bane, and Palpatine. Easy money, baby. And again, the good thing is you don't need to win with that team. So let's say you're just trying to push as much health steal up as possible. You don't need to win. You can lose the battle and it'll still count towards the total sector feat goal that you need. So again, you got some options. But now we got one more that we got to handle, people. And that's going to be Sector 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody, let's go. Going for it. Attempt to inflict Order 66 15 times. Ugh, hate this one. Gain repost 40 times. Attempt to inflict ability block 60 times. Win with 10 battles with at least 3 pirates in your squad. Mini boss. Win with Wrecker Mercenary surviving. Win with Jedi Master Windu surviving. And then the boss node. Win with Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano in your squad. And win without using any attacker units in your squad. Okay, not as fun here. Well, you got a few things you could do. Ability block should be easy. You got a few ways. If you have Jedi Master Luke or just Jedi in general, you got tons of ability block. Master Luke's got ability block. Old Ben's got ability block. Mace Windu's got ability block on a basic. Bastila Shan's got ability block on the basic. Cal Kestis has repost or riposte, as I like to call it sometimes. But speaking of riposte, the easiest way to get repost out there, unfortunately, is going to be the new Bad Batch crew. Omega on her special ability. She can spam lots of repost to the team. That's gonna be the easiest way to get through 40 reposts. Of course, you can probably do some deployable cooling system stuff. Once you get that consumable, it'll help you as well if you don't have it, but I'm just saying, it's the easiest way if you got it. Speaking of which, speaking of ability block, if you want other ways of handling ability block, ripostes, Darth Maul again coming in here with that advantage, nice. But also, you got reposts from Count Dooku, and then you can get Darth Vader for your ability block, and Traya, you can use Traya to reset the cooldowns on Dooku or Vader to keep getting more ability blocks, repost out there. Make sure you take advantage of Vader's Merciless Massacre and just go basic, basic, basic. You'll be able to churn out those ability blocks in no time. Should not be a problem. And if you're really feeling cheeky and you want to try to do this pirate thing, the good news about pirates, Sana, Nest, Hondo are going to be your go-to pirates here. And again, let me double check the lingo here. Yes, this is beautiful. The great thing about pirates, you don't need to have them geared up. You just have to have 3 pirates in your squad and you have to win, but they do not need to survive. So again, if you want to do like, Sith Eternal, Wat Tambor, 3 pirates, you're good to go. Everybody should have basically 3 pirates from the past 3 weeks. The marquee event. Everyone should have Kix. Everyone should have Athano. Everyone should have Quiggle. You don't need to gear them up. They just have to exist. But I think most will have Hondo, Nest, and as well as Sana Staros geared up if you're really worried about it. And if you really want to get funny, Boba Fett, IG-88, Hondo, they all have ability blocks too if you really want to lean into all that. And then Order 66, I think this might be the most annoying one. This actually might determine your sanity for going for red crate, because this is the feat right here. If I don't do it, I can't get red crate. So I'm going to just suck it up, Buttercups, and do it. Order 66 without Lord Vader, your best bet really is going to be CX2, the basic ability. Bing, bing, bing. When he pings someone 3 times, he gets the Order 66 on. No fun. Obviously, if you have the full Dark Side clone team, you're in the money, honey. Whether you're using Tarkin lead, Lord Vader lead, you're playing life on easy mode. Otherwise, super annoying to do it. Yeah, no fun. But that's basically what we got cooking for these sectors, my friends. Let me go show you now my personal plan for my free-to-play count. What am I skipping, and what does this look like on the point system? So again, if you're going for red crate, you can skip a total of 34 key cards. So we look at Sector 1, there's really not much to skip out on except for Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. I don't got him, so that's 2 right there. Okay, we're gonna go now to Sector 2. Basically, the only thing that could maybe cause you problems is the Lord Vader mini boss feat, so that's another +2 right there. And Jocasta do another +3 right there. So right now, just between Sector 1 and Sector 2, that's 7 we're skipping out on. That's not a lot. We're good so far. Sector 3, I think for a lot of people, you might not have Balin Skull, so that's a +2 right there. Otherwise, the rest is pretty straightforward. Sector 4, you're likely not going to have SM33 unless you went ham on the last Conquest cycle. So that's +4 right there. But again, we're good. I mean, before we even get to Sector 5 and the global feats, we're at 13 key cards skipping out. That's not bad. Sector 5, this is when things get a little bit annoying. Let's assume you're going to knock out all the base sector feats here, right? And then you're not going to have Jedi Master Windu, so that's +3 right there. And you might not have Ahsoka, so that's +5. So basically, we're just skipping on all like the legendaries and conquest units that you might not have, like my free-to-play account. That's 21 key cards right there. The global feats overall are fairly manageable to do. I think hopefully you have some Jedi Vanguards, so you can do a full squad of them. That might be the biggest pain points. Hopefully you got something good cooking there, and especially if you got good data disc. I'm hoping you're able to really push that. Omega surviving. Everyone should have Omega if you've been playing for the past couple months. You just got to figure out some cheese to keep her alive. But here's the thing. The biggest problem is if you do not do that Order 66, you add +15 to that. you're gonna break out of the red crate then. We don't want that. So really try to push yourself to get through it, or maybe you have some of those other Legendaries Conquest units and you can maybe skip out into Order 616 if you do not have all the Dark Side clones. But I think more people are getting the Dark Side clones since now they become free to play farmable and people can gear them up higher now because of the new gear economy changes. But anyways, me hearties, hopefully you guys are ready for these next couple of months. We're gonna get Hondo Naka this month. Remember, Maz Kanata's for her own pirate gang, but we're not gonna be able to unlock her until, what is it, like late September, early October, so it's gonna be a while, and fingers crossed, we get something that really blows our mind on the water at the end of the year, because I think people are starting to get a little pirate fatigue, but you know what, it's a pirate's life for me. There is no fatigue, there's only non-fatigue. Okay, I'm tired. It's like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning here. Ahoy, me hearties. Yo, yo, ho, you leave a like and subscribe. You better do it now, or else Gary is gonna walk the plank and die. Okay, we gotta work on the song. Bye.
Oh, it's great to be in the Empire.